Members, after considering this particular motion via putting the question, they shall retreat into a committee of the whole House to deliberate, make amendments to the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of the year 2018, that seeks to repeal the Kenya Accreditation Service Order of 2009, made under the Corporations Act Cap 446 of the laws of Kenya, and one that seeks to establish the Kenya National Accreditation Service as an internationally recognized and effective accreditation system, which will be ideally charged with promoting accreditation for facilitation of trade and enhancement of health, safety, environmental protection, economic performance, and transformation of the country, and also to facilitate the promotion of competence of accredited bodies. The Statute Law Miscellaneous Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 13 of the year 2018, an omnibus of a bill that contains 15 pieces of legislations that members will be making amendments to this afternoon. Also expected a number of questions. Members, 6 of them, will be seeking answers from various cabinet secretaries through the relevant departmental committees. There is the Member of Parliament Githunguri constituency, Honorable Gabriel Kago. He has questions for the Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary as regards a road that is in a terrible state in Githunguri constituency. It is 15 kilometers, a stretch between Nyega and Kiambururu and Kamushege. The Member of Parliament, Kaloleni, Honorable Paul Katana, also has a question for the Cabinet Secretary, Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, concerning the Agriculture and Food Authority and its regulations. A live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Vereso Mwanga. On behalf of the entire crew, including the sign language interpreter, Kellen Kisila, I invite you to follow the proceedings. Good afternoon.
We, in your wisdom and goodness, have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you are committed to our charge. Amen. We may begin. Yeah, begin.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honourable members, I'll be issuing communication relating to the business appearing as order number 9 at the appropriate time.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. Legal notice number 24 of 2019 relating to the Public Finance Management, Tourist Promotion Fund, Regulation 2019, and the explanatory memoranda from the National Treasury to be referred to the Committee on Delegated Legislation. 2, legal notice number 23 of 2019 relating to the Air Passenger Service Charge Act, apportionment, Order 2018, and the explanatory memoranda from the National Treasury to be referred to the Committee on Delegated Legislation. Financial year 2019-2020 program-based budget of the National Government of Kenya for the year ending 30th June 2020. Financial year 2019-2020 estimates of revenue, grants and loans of the Government of Kenya for the year ending 30th June 2020. Number 5, financial year 2019-2020 estimates of recurrent expenditure of the Government of Kenya for the year ending 30th June 2020, Volume 1 and 2. 7, the budget summary for the fiscal year 2019-2020 and the supporting information from the National Treasury. 8, financial year 2019-2020 list of projects of the National Government of Kenya for the year ending 30th June 2020 from the National Treasury. Financial year 2019-2020 annex of estimates of revenue and expenditure for state corporation of the Government of Kenya for the financial year ending 30th June 2020 from the National Treasury. 10, financial estimates for the Parliamentary Service Commission for the financial year 2019-2020. 11, estimates of revenue, 2, and the expenditure from the Equalization Fund for the financial year 2019-2020. 12, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the year that ended 30th June 2018 and the certificate therein: Consolidated Fund Services, Salaries, Allowances, and Miscellaneous Services, and 2, the receiver of revenue recurrent from the National Treasury. So, Speaker, I want to confirm that the budget estimates from the judiciary was tabled last Thursday. I beg to table.
That is, those must be the estimates of development expenditure, volumes 1, 2, 3, is it?
Where?
Chair, Departmental Committee on Lands.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House. Today, Tuesday, April 30th, 2019, report of the Departmental Committee on Lands on its consideration of a petition by the residents of Embakasi West constituency regarding non-issuance of title deeds to the area residents. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Public Investments Committee. Chair, Public Investments Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. Report of the Public Investment Committee on the inquiry into procurement implementation of the Excisable Goods Management System for printing, supply and delivery of security revenue stamp, complete with track and trace system and integrated production accounting system by the Kenya Revenue Authority.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Honorable Charles Kanyi Njagwe. Don't raise your hand up. You know what to do. The Honorable Charles Njagwe Kanyi. Please, your request card. Where is your request card? You can't just stand in your place like that. Why did you carry the card? Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I beg to give motion to the following motion. That aware...
You want to give motion to the following motion?
I beg to... sorry, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion.
Very well.
That aware that 75% of Kenyan population is under the age of 35 years and that the overall unemployment among the youth is at 55%. Further aware that 800,000 graduates from universities, colleges, technical institutes, vocational centers, and other tertiary institutions join the job market annually with only approximately 70,000 being absorbed in the formal labor force market, concerned that the high rate of unemployment in Kenya, particularly among the youth, remains a major challenge, recognizing that Article 55 of the Constitution requires the state to take measures to ensure that the youth gain access to relevant education, training, and employment, noting that the mandatory retirement age for the public servants is set at 60 years. This House urges the government to review the mandatory retirement age in the public service from the current 60 years to among up to 50 years to among other things create opportunities for the employment of the youth of this nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Member for Kirinyaga Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That aware that according to available data from the country's education sector, a huge percentage of students who sit for Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education do not transition to universities to pursue degree courses. Further aware that technical skills and knowledge are fundamental in every profession. Concerned that despite the importance of technical and vocational training in teaching necessary skills and building adequate human capital to achieve and to sustain the country, its uptake in the country remains slow. Cognizant that promotion of technical and vocational education and skills alongside academics provide a mix of professionals and skills that the economy requires so that to create balanced manpower requirement. Recognizing that Article 55 of the Constitution requires the state to take measures to ensure that youth access the relevant education and training, appreciating the government's policy of achieving 100% transition of pupils from primary to secondary schools, which has seen a huge increase in enrollment in secondary schools. This House resolves that the government put in place policy measures to ensure 100% transition from secondary to tertiary education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. There's something that seems to excite nominee 001. He's frantically hopping from his usual place to the leader of the majority in an excited manner. I may not know what it is that is exciting the Honorable Sankok. Chair, Public Investments Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Public Investment Committee on the inquiry into procurement and implementation of the excisable goods management system for printing, supply and delivery of security revenue stamps, complete with the track and trace system and integrated production accounting system by the Kenya Revenue Authority, laid on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 30th April 2019.
Yes, proceed. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
First question by the member for Githunguri. Mukuakago. Member for Githunguri. Member for Githunguri, first question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I arise to ask question 209 of 2019 to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. Question 1, is the Cabinet Secretary aware that the 15-kilometer Nyaga Kiabororo Kamushege Road in Githunguri constituency is in deplorable state and impassable? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the construction of the said road to bitumen standard stalled despite the project being awarded in June 2016? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question to be responded to before the Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. Next question by the member for Kaloleni, Honorable Katana Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question 210, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Irrigation. First, is the Cabinet Secretary aware that the Agriculture and Food Authority is yet to formulate regulations and other policy measures for the development of scheduled crops, in particular coconut, to facilitate marketing and distribution of the same through monitoring and dissemination of market information as specified by Section 8 and the Fisheries Schedule of the Crop Act number 10 of 2013. Second question is, what measures has the ministry put in place to enhance value addition to coconuts with the aim of promoting its market viability and competitiveness? Third, when is the ministry expected to roll out civic awareness programs on value addition and marketing option for coconut amongst the residents of the coast region? Thank you.
You are to be responded to before the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock. Next question by the member for Bumula, Mwambu Mabonga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Question 1, is the Cabinet Secretary aware that the proposed 2 sub-counties in Bumula constituency are yet to be gazetted? Question 2, is the Cabinet Secretary further aware that the Assistant County Commissioners are yet to be posted to West Pukusu and Siboti divisions that fall within the new sub-county? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To be responded to before the Committee on Administration and National Security. Next question by the member for Lugali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the circumstances under which Barclays Bank and Standard Chartered Bank are issuing a 14 days notice for closing clients' account? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary further explain what happens to the money held in those accounts once they are closed? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We're to be responded to before the Committee on Finance and National Planning. Next question by the member for Ponchari, Honorable John Oro Yoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 215 of 2019, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Fiscal Planning. Is the Cabinet Secretary aware that the Kisii Land Registry in Kisii County has only 1 land registrar serving 9 constituencies? Is the Cabinet Secretary further aware that the Kisii Land Registry is yet to be upgraded to offer automated and digital services? Number 3, what measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure that more land registrars are posted to the land registry in Kisii, and further the registry is upgraded to offer automated and digitized services to ease issuance of title deeds and other land transactions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. To be responded to before the Departmental Committee on Lands. The last question is by the member for Moyale, Honorable Galicha Gufu Wario.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 216 of 2019 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details of the presidential bursary meant for secondary school with regard to how much funding was allocated and the criteria used to identify and distribute the said fund to the beneficiaries in the financial year 2017-2018? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed list of students from Moyale constituency who benefited from the bursary for the last 1 year and the amount allocated for each student? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question to be responded to before the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. Honourable members, as you may be aware, the second National Assembly Leadership Retreat took place last week between 25th and 28th of April 2019 at the Sarova White Sands Beach Resort and Spa in Mombasa. The retreat was part of a continuing tradition of the leadership of this House to hold leadership retreats aimed at taking stock of the progress made in the various legislative sectors while setting the agenda and preparing the House for upcoming business. The retreat under the theme Consolidating Synergy and Safeguarding the Gains for the Welfare of Society came at an opportune time following the commencement of this session of Parliament and right in the middle of the budget cycle. It also provided an avenue for the House leadership to interact, share experiences, and chart a way forward that will guide the business of the House during this session. It also did provide an opportunity for chairpersons and vice chairpersons of committees to share their experiences on the legislative processes currently in place, including the management of parliamentary questions and petitions. The participants in the retreat included presiding officers, leaders of the majority and minority parties, and their deputies, commissioners of the Parliament Service Commission, whips of the majority and minority parties and their deputies, chairpersons and vice chairpersons of all committees, members of the House Business Committee, and a section of the membership of the Procedure and House Rules Committee, journalists who cover parliamentary proceedings as well as senior parliamentary staff. The retreat benefited from the presentations and experiences of a cross-section of leaders, members of the executive, representatives of the private sector, experts and resource persons from the National Treasury, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis, KIPRA, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, representatives of security agencies, and the leadership of the Parliament Service Commission. Honourable members, the conference discussed various topics including on the Big Four, blue economy, and national security, governance and national security in the 21st century, population statistics and issues for national planning, including key national demographics, what the statistics and the projections portend for the future, implications on the national planning, state of preparedness, and the role of Parliament in fulfilling legislative and budgetary interventions to mitigate the challenges, and a discussion on tools for effective oversight and public petitions, including taking stock of the new procedure for questions and public petitions, and receiving feedback from committee chairpersons on the effectiveness of the new procedures for questions and the petitions to Parliament law, rules and procedure, and identifying areas for improvement. Honour members, the conference also discussed the very important subject of public debt, implications to the economy, and budget financing. Measures, what were the key drivers to the rise in the public debt, the questions of sustainability and medium-term debt strategies to be put in place, the formal debt versus the informal debt, and the rising pending bills at the national and the county levels, and where there was room for borrowing by counties. The retreat also did discuss the approval of the budget estimates and revenue-raising measures in the interest capping rate, the place of the Professional Collection of Taxes and Duties Act, Cap 415, on taxation measures and the timelines for presentation and passage of the finance bill. The issue of delayed payments to suppliers and the implication to the velocity of money, economic growth, and industrialization was extensively discussed. Honourable members, the Parliamentary Service Commission committed to continue providing and improving services and facilities for efficient and effective functioning of the National Assembly. At the conclusion of the leadership retreat, resolutions were adopted, including a proposal to broadcast committee proceedings when cabinet secretaries are answering parliamentary questions, so that the public is able to understand pronouncements made on key public policy issues. It was also resolved that committees adhere to their mandates to avoid duplication of roles and proposing different recommendations when undertaking inquiries on similar issues. Committees should also ensure that public participation is well documented in their reports to cushion the House from unnecessary and at times uncalled for judicial challenges. It was also agreed that committee leadership should follow established practice of giving adequate notice to witnesses of at least 7 days before they appear before the committees. The workshop also resolved to prioritize training of vice chairpersons of committees. Honour members, in the interest of deepening bicameral committee between the two houses of Parliament, the House will ensure improved consultation and cooperation between the National Assembly and the Senate to build synergy during the legislative processes and limit duplication of efforts and to reduce the chances for resorting to mediation. On the very important issue of security for members of Parliament, it was agreed that in consultation with my office, the National Police Service will consider a phased-out withdrawal and replacement of security attached to members of Parliament whenever there is need to undertake such an exercise. To safeguard the security of members, the National Police Service should exercise good discretion when dealing with security matters affecting members, and arbitrary withdrawal of security should never be applied. The National Assembly will, through its committees, invite the relevant security agencies to offer training and sensitization awareness to members of Parliament on matters of security. Honour members, these resolutions were reached at the retreat and will be contained in a report to be presented to the House at a later time. I thank you, honour members. Maybe the members coming in could make their way through. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, debate on the President's address. question to be put.
Honourable members, debate on this motion was concluded on Thursday, and what remained was for the question to be put, which I hereby do. That pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 24, subsection 6, the thanks of this House be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the address by His Excellency the President, delivered in Parliament on Thursday, April 4th, 2019, and further that the House notes the following reports submitted by the President in fulfillment of the provisions of Articles 132, Clause 1, Paragraph C, 240, Clause 7 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019. A. Sixth annual report on the progress made in fulfillment of the international obligations of the Republic. B. Sixth annual report on the measures taken and progress achieved in the realization of national values and principles of governance. And C. Annual report to Parliament on the state of national security. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. As many as the contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Honourable members, before we go to the next order, I have this communication which I need to make. The next order is the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments, number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2018. And I wish to first guide that after consultations, and because of some proposed amendments by some members to the first bill, which is the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, National Assembly Bill number 17 of 2018, it has been resolved that that bill be taken out of the order paper today, so that their proposed amendments can be incorporated, so that when the bill is being considered in committee, members are in a position of what it is that other members are proposing. So that it's for that reason that the communication relates only to the second bill, Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill. From the onset, honourable members, I wish to remind the House that the provisions relating to the following acts were withdrawn by the mover of the bill, is the leader of the majority party, as conveyed in my communication of 7 March 2019. 1. The provisions proposing to amend the Cooperative Societies Act, Cap 490. 2. The provisions proposing to amend the Circle Societies Act, number 14 of 2008. And 3. The provisions proposing to amend the Statistics Act, number 4 of 2006. Second, honourable members, the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2018, is also proposing to amend the Energy Act, number 12 of 2006. In view of the fact that the Energy Act 2006 was repealed early this year, when Parliament enacted the Energy Act 2019, the provisions therefore proposing to amend the Energy Act of 2006 as contained in the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2018 stand invalidated and shall not be considered in committee of the whole House. This is because the principal law referred to in the bill no longer exists. Thirdly, honorable members, regarding the Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011, the clerk has since advised me that the provisions proposing to amend the said act do not conflict with the recently enacted Urban Areas and Cities Act number 3 of 2019. The Committee of the Whole House may therefore proceed to consider the said provisions as contained in the bill and any other amendments proposed by members. Fourthly, honorable members, regarding the Public-Private Partnership Act number 15 of 2013, you will note that the bill proposes to amend the following sections in the act, being 4, 5, 6, 14, 17, 27, 28, 30, 31, 33, 37, 45, 48, 52, 54, 57, 58, 61, 64, 65, and 71. In this respect, the House is aware of a separate bill, namely the Public-Private Partnership Amendment Bill 2017, which is in an advanced stage, having been passed by this House, forwarded to the Senate, and what is now awaited is the consideration of the Senate's amendments by this House. A perusal of the two bills reveals that they are both proposing to amend sections 31, 37, 45, 54, and 57. In this regard, and in keeping with the Standing Order number 133, subsection 6, which provides that no amendment shall be moved which is inconsistent with any part of the bill already agreed to or any decision already made by the committee, the provisions to amend sections 31, 37, 45, 54, and 57 as contained in the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2018 shall not be considered in the Committee of the Whole House. This includes any other amendments proposed by any members to the same sections of the Principal Act. Lastly, honourable members, I wish now to draw the attention of the House to the amendments proposed by the member for Gatondo South, the Honourable Moses Kuria, to provisions relating to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. For the benefit of the House, the objective of the amendments is to address his concern of pending bills and delayed payments to suppliers of goods and services to the public sector. Honourable members, I have subjected the said amendments to the procedure relating to money bills as required by Article 114 of the Constitution and was Standing Order number 231. I'm advised that the Budget and Appropriations Committee has recommended that the House do proceed to consider the proposed amendments. In this regard, the amendments proposed by the member for Gatondo South with respect to insertion of new clauses 87A and 87B under Section 87 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 may be considered by the Committee of the Whole House. Honourable members, the House now stands accordingly guided. I thank you. So, honourable members, I'm informed that there are some pupils from some institutions who have come to the House, and I think it's only fair that they be recognized. They are from Ondonyiro High School, Ondonyiro Primary School, Kipsing Primary School, Lenguruma Primary School, Lebasherik Primary School, all from Isiolo North Constituency, Isiolo County, and they are welcome. They are welcome to observe the proceedings. Next order.
Order number 9, Committee of the Whole House.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members, we now are in the committee of the whole, considering the statute law miscellaneous amendments, number 2, Bill, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2018. And we shall move fairly fast. Where members register interest to speak, we'll give maybe 2, and so that we make progress.
And then now we'll go to these other things. Mike. Oh, the mic is off. Sorry. Oh. Clause 2.
Honorable members, I propose that clause 2 be part of the bill. And there are no amendments on that. Honorable members, I put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Schedules. Provisions relating to the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act, Cap 131.
Honorable members, I propose a question that the provisions relating to Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act, Cap 131, be amended as proposed in the bill. Order, just 1 minute, honorable members. What is your point of order, Majority Leader?
Chair, we have an order paper supplementary, and the Committee of the Whole, as we were supposed to start with the Kenya Accreditation Service Bill, unless the Speaker has rearranged. No, I want to hear from the Chair. You know you are not the Speaker. Even though you have,
yes, Majority Leader, yes, indeed it was rearranged. So we'll consider, as I have mentioned, we start with the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act. Then we'll move in that order.
Section 2.
Honorable members, I propose that section 2 be amended as proposed by the mover. There is an amendment on that. There is a chairperson, Honorable Munyaka, and we also have Honorable Miri Odhiambo. We'll start with the Honorable Chair. Honorable Munyaka, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to indicate that the committee looked at the amendments and decided to delete all the proposed amendments because we are doing a complete repeal of the Act of the Betting Control and Licensing Board.
Well, you know, Honorable Munyaka, we have to deal with one cross. Yes. So every section, you may not do a guillotine prosecution. So we'll deal with one after the other. Never mind, I know the committee has dealt with each of those sections, but we go one after the other, so that then you prosecute each section one at a time.
I beg to propose the deletion of the proposed amendment in that particular section.
Yes, Honorable Miri Odhiambo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm requesting that even though we are dealing with the paperless parliament, would it be okay, Chair, if you give us the pages that we are working on, the electronic pages, so that we are able to follow, because we are dealing with this very, very many pieces. Some have been withdrawn, some have, I don't know what. Chair, so to enable us effectively follow, can we just know which page in the electronically we are at?
Yes, that's a fair question. That's a fair statement. So that then we follow and move slowly. We are dealing with Section 2 of the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act. We shall tell you in a minute what page that is, right? So that then we move together. And I'm sure members have the order paper of today. Yes. And members, you remember that the order papers are online now. So it will be important from your screen to get the order paper so that then we follow. Yes, Honorable Makari Muru.
Yeah, thank you.
Just Honorable Cecil Barrier, let's hear from Honorable Makari Muru. I will come to you so that then we move together.
Yeah,
Honorable Makari Muru.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, what I wanted to request is, I know Dr. Munyaka has moved, but would it be just fair that he also provides justification for deletion so that we follow the debate?
Very well, fair point, but let's deal with especially specifying. Yes, Honorable Cecil Barrier, but Honorable Makari Muru, you are on target in that request.
Mr. Speaker, we have a challenge because our systems are not working. We can't log in. Yeah. We can't log in, and I'm not the only one. We are several of us. Yeah. Quite a number of members cannot log in. I don't know why. Maybe if the clerk's office can be asked to call ICT people here.
Very well. Very well. Honorable Cecil Barrier, that's it's a critical issue. I think we'll give a few minutes so that, you know, the members must be able to log in. Then we follow. And that's clearly a fair request. So I'll ask, just give us a few minutes. So then the members are able to log in and follow clearly. Honorable Munyaka, we're just giving about 2 minutes so that before you speak, because you have a fundamental issue, the members must be able to access the order paper. They must be able to go online, and I'm sure that is being sorted now. So then we follow together. So just freeze for a few minutes.
Honorable members, order. Order, members. For purposes of proceeding now, members may key in using ICT as a username and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. As the password. 1, 2, 3, 4. Username ICT. Username ICT, password 1234. Are you good, the Honorable Association? ICT username 1234, password. Are we good now? The Honorable Association, have you found it? The Honorable Ferdinand. Honorable members, are we on the same page now? I believe we are on the same page. Can I allow a minute so that everybody acclimatizes with that page so that we can proceed? They're all good, eh? The Honorable Makali, you found it? All good, thank you. The Honorable Victor Munyaka, you are on your feet. Have you found it? You are fine? Very well. Yes. The Honorable Munyaka, you may proceed. You are on your feet moving your proposed amendments to Section 2 of the betting and lotteries.
Mr. Chairman, what is appearing for amendment is actually just a definition of a cabinet secretary in the new order to replace the word minister. So I propose that amendment be carried as in the order paper.
Members, allow me then to propose the question that Section 2 be amended as proposed by the mover. By the chair. We are talking about the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act, Cap 131, in the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Number 2, Bill National Assembly, Bill Number 13 of 2018, the Miscellaneous Law Amendment Bill. It is page 575, yes, of the order paper. It is not supplementary. Oh yeah, this is it the same one on this? It's the same there. It is page 575 of the supplementary order paper. Yes, the supplementary. Have you found it? Very well. Then allow me to proceed to put the question that Section 2 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Millie, you had a proposal on this. The import of the one by the chair being carried is that you are false. The Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, actually, because mine was a proposed amendment to the schedule.
Yes.
So if his is also a proposed amendment to the schedule, then I have no problem, because it's the same thing.
Very well.
Thank you.
Very well. So we proceed.
Section 3(2)(a).
I propose the question that section 3(2)(a) be part of the bill. Mover? Victor. The Honorable Munyaka?
Thank you, Chairman. I propose deletion of the proposed amendment of section 3(2)(a), as appears in the order paper.
The Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair, the committee deliberated on the Betting Licensing Board Act, and saw all the amendments which were proposed to be inconsistent, and that the act actually required full repeal, because it was piecemeal and it was going actually to create inconsistencies. So that's why you will note most of the suggested amendments have been proposed for deletion, because the committee is also repealing the whole act, and I can confirm today it was actually undertaken by the budget committee, ready for publishment.
Well, the leader of majority, what is out of order?
Chair, this bill is mine. And if you look at 3(2)(a), it says insert the words "for one further term" at the end thereof. You are deleting it. Don't tell us about a bill that will come from committee. We are dealing with this particular bill. And I think the chair must give us very good reason why he's deleting that 3(2)(a).
Chair, as I had indicated, we looked at the proposed amendments, and we also looked at the existing act, and saw that that particular act is archaic because it's 1966, and we needed actually to repeal such that if we could amend one particular section, then we could leave a lot of inconsistencies with the remaining clauses. So we decided that we are going to delete most of the proposed amendments, so that we may not leave inconsistencies and ambiguities in the remaining act. So that is one of the reasons, because it is going to be addressed in the repealed bill or act.
Well, the Honorable Mashele.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this debate is live on TV, and the public is watching us. With a lot of respect to the chair of sports, I think he needs to help us, as he also helps the public who are watching us, to just give a bit of background on whatever amendments he's making, so that people and the public and also the members who may not have had the advantage of looking at this bill to follow, to come along with him. Because just claiming that this one was an old and archaic bill does not help. And we are not amending all archaic bills here, as long as they are still useful to this country. Therefore, I just wanted to request, yes, I just wanted to request the chair, and actually he has the opportunity that if he is not in if he does not have enough information now, he can still request his colleagues who are in the same committee to help him to give us the background information on why they are deleting this clause. Thank you, Chair.
The Honorable Amalwa, what is out of order?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Chair, with due respect to my friend Dr. Munyaka, we know very well, Chair, at the Committee of the Whole House is where we look at the bill in details, even full stop, grammar, everything. What Honorable Duale said, and that is procedurally, because here you are amending by deleting section 32A. First, you must specify what is this that you are deleting. Okay, after you've said that, you are talking of inconsistency, you must show specifically how is it inconsistent with the current law the way it is. That logical flow is not there. We cannot generalize. That's why we are going clause by clause. So my humble request is, Honorable Munyaka, who is doing his third term, and he knows these things very well, he needs to tell us specifics. That section 32A is this, we are deleting this because of inconsistency, and you must demonstrate how is it inconsistent. That is lacking.
Very well, the Honorable Amalwa, you are right. The Honorable Leader of Majority, you're right. The Honorable Victor Munyaka, this is the property of the House, and you must give them reason why you want to delete. I'll give you another go at it.
Chair,
so that
I want to seek for your indulgence, because actually this particular supplementary order paper, I was not actually aware about it. And in fact, I can remember we tabled a report on all these proposed amendments sometimes 8 months ago, and I cannot remember offhand. I can seek for your indulgence so that I can access the report, so that I can know the basis of our deletion, because particularly members are aware that we have been ambushed by this supplementary order paper, because actually I was not aware about it. Yes.
the Honorable Chair, you are putting the chair in an awkward position because the matter is live before the House. Just hold on 001. I think it is good to advise the chair properly. We shall proceed, but you will have, the only recourse you may have is actually to recommit so that you may have another bite at it in the procedure of recommittal. But at the moment, we shall have to proceed as it is, because the House must decide one way or the other. It is a matter that is live before the House. And then even the recommittal itself will have to be subject to the House agreeing with you. So you are caught up between the deep blue sea, and we'll have to proceed. The Honorable Makali, what is biting you?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think, Mr. Chairman, we need your guidance on this matter. If I listen to Honorable Dr. Munyaka, what Munyaka is saying is, as a committee, they are put forward a comprehensive review of this Act of 1966. What the Leader of Majority is doing is actually reviewing the same, kind of amending the 1996 Act. So I think what the Honorable Munyaka is saying is, according to him, it will not make sense to move on with these miscellaneous amendments because it's bringing comprehensive. So you need to guide us as a House. Do we move with a comprehensive review or do we just do piecemeal?
The Honorable Makali, you are opening up a debate that is not available now, because the House cannot anticipate what the committee is going to do. The House is at the moment seized and live to the present miscellaneous amendment bill, which is before it, and it must deal with it one way or the other. So we shall proceed. Honorable members, I propose the question that section 32A be amended as proposed by the chair. I see interest from the Honorable Cecil Marire. Very well. I put the question that section 32A be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Honorable members, order. We will do it one more time. And members, we must remember this procedure. I put the question that section 32A be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. What is out of order, the Honorable Michelle?
Chair, I think you must have heard what the chairman said, that they made a report like 8 months ago. And as we debate these amendments, he may not be in picture of what actually formed the basis of this amendment. Given that there are other deletions after this one, do you think you need to guide us, Chair, on how we need to proceed? Because there will be no point of asking the chair to again move amendments or deletion that he may not be in picture of. So, Chair, I was going to propose that with the consultation with the chair, if he can accept the entire amendments up to G, up to H, what is it? Up to S. So that we can,
Honorable members, order.
This chair.
Honorable members, order. We shall have order. If there's a Honorable Asheli, what you're proposing and what you're saying is similar to what the Honorable Makali had proposed, yes, and what the chair proposed. Yes. But I had given advice that this is a matter that is live before the House. And we cannot anticipate what the committee will be proposing to do with this act later on. So if the chair of sports committee is able to agree with the Honorable Dwale, who is the owner of this particular bill that is before the House, so better for the House. We shall abide by the agreement. But if the owner of the bill, the Honorable Dwale, is the opinion that he wants to proceed with this bill, then he shall proceed with it. So it is the Honorable Dwale who shall determine what he wants to do with this bill. The Honorable TJ, what is out of order?
Mr. Chairman, let me just ask through you, if we have a report, a departmental committee report on these amendments. If then we do, those reports will show exactly what the committee, instead of relying on what the chairman is saying, we have a committee report before us, and we can read through those reports and we will know exactly where the committee is coming from. That will help him. Because, Mr. Chair, the other way, Mr. Chairman, the other way would be to go through the painful selections of each of these amendments, and we will have all these issues coming up, and we will take a long time. We probably then, if we are seized with that report, we would not have to bother the chair. We will see for ourselves exactly where the committee is coming from.
The Honorable Kajwang, I am advised that the report was actually laid on the table of the House some time back. So the report, the House is seized of that report. But let us hear the chair of the Committee of Sports. And the other chairs of the other committees, because this is the miscellaneous, before you speak, the Honorable Victor, I just want to advise the Honorable Wamalwa, when I'm giving advice, I cannot be out of order. You will have to wait. I am just advising the other chairs that you can see the difficulty we are having with this. So the other chairs should also prepare themselves adequately so that when we get momentum, we shall be able to move without stopping. The Honorable Victor.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. You will understand from the beginning there was confusion on the order paper because we had no knowledge of the supplemented order paper. This report for these amendments was tabled around 8 months ago, and each section I cannot be able to remember offhand because I don't even have the report. But since the committee is actually in the terminal stages of coming up with the repealed bill, I wouldn't mind dropping all these amendments so that we make progress, and so that the bill which is coming before this House takes precedence. I move that I drop all those amendments. Yes.
We will give the first opportunity to the proposal to drop all these amendments to the Leader of Majority, who is the owner of the bill that is in contention now. Leader of Majority. What is out of order, the Honorable Leader of Majority, just hold on. The Honorable Nyikal, what is out of order?
Chair, I'm seeing something that is going to be with us the whole afternoon, and it's a major principle. And as much as we may say somebody didn't do something right, that is, we are making a law. The chair says he went through this a long time ago and cannot remember. And I'm telling you, it is combined with the fact that we are getting into a new medium of operation here with the machines. And I'm going to see it coming because this order paper and the miscellaneous amendments, many people are not aware of it. So what we are going to pass, and the chair is saying, I cannot remember. In my mind, Mr. Speaker, it may be important to look at whether we can go through these miscellaneous amendments. We may actually waste time if we don't and waste this afternoon. But getting a proper law that everybody understands, the committee understands, the chair understands, is much more important than the loss of a single day. Because I'm seeing that coming in all other committees that we are going to follow. So in my mind, we would have said that in a situation where a chair feels that that bit, I'm not conversant, I cannot remember, I've not reviewed it, it came a long time ago, we should find a procedure of bypassing that, even if it means we look at it later. Because that, Mr. Chair, is the basic principle and the basic problem.
The Honorable Nyikal, what you are saying is what most of these members are saying. I will give the opportunity to the Leader of Majority. Yes.
You know, Chair, we will look very bad even in the eyes of the public, that when we say we have not prepared, we look very bad. We are doing at the committee of the whole House. And chairs who have already, chair or any member who has an amendment must convince us. I mean, that is the procedure. You must convince all members here either to agree with you or to reject the amendment, including myself. I have an amendment. And what usually happens with the chairs and me is you carry a matrix. I asked Honorable Munyaka, so about the report. Your legal officer must have prepared a matrix for justification. This is my amendment, this is justification. And all the other, you know if your son who goes to school fails and he tells you, I didn't read, that is not an excuse. So I think what the chair is saying, he has his bill. And I even traced his bill, it's in government printer. Am I right? His bill is in the government printer. If he cannot explain this, then he withdraws, then he can bring an amendment in his major bill, but we move forward. But you know, Honorable Nyikal is making a generalization. that chairs are not prepared. If you're not prepared then, and the order paper, even a supplementary order paper, the rest of us who have amendments must convince you. So we cannot judge, because of that chair of sports, we cannot judge all the other members who are sitting here. I have my reasons. In fact, in the Fisheries Act, where I only want to introduce oceans. So, and I'll convince the House, if the House disagrees with me, is out of it. So we need to move, and we have business.
The Honorable Jude Njomo.
Thank you, Chair. This is a very important bill on betting and gaming. If you look at what is going on in the country, betting has become a very serious thing. People are becoming addicted to gaming. People are becoming addicted to betting. We should not take this lightly. And I support what the chairman have said of the committee, that this bill should be looked at it afresh. It should be addressed as a whole bill, so that we make sure that we capture all the areas that needs to be done. It doesn't sound well when he says that he can't remember some of these things. He needs to remember because he's the chairman. But we also, as a parliament, must decide on some very important aspects of gaming that are happening in our country. Companies are coming from out there, getting money from the public, and they are not spending the money here, they are taking the money out of the country. We need to regulate this industry so that it benefits our country and benefits our people and benefits the investors. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What is causing problems is this business of bringing circuit laws.
The Honorable TJ.
Mr. Chairman, if you just put your head to this, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, it can be very dangerous if we allowed chairmen to come and withdraw amendments in this House. This is not a private member's amendment. If it were a private member's amendment, then it could be withdrawn by the person holding the amendment. Mr. Chairman, I'm making a point which I think... Mr. Chairman, I'm making a point here. There has been precedence in the House which has been followed, that whereas an ordinary member may have the right to withdraw his amendments, a chair is in a different position because the proposal, the legislative proposal, has gone through public participation, and members of the committee have taken part in it. And so, Mr. Chairman, it would be very dangerous, in my view. I know I'm still on my feet. So, Mr. Chairman, it would be very, very dangerous to suggest that the chair, if he cannot prosecute it, then we just have to pronounce ourselves and make a decision as the House and vote. But to allow a chair to withdraw, that would be terrible, particularly with what Mr. Jomo, Honorable Jomo has just said. If we were to be seen that we withdrew important things before the assembly, it would be terrible. We just have to express ourselves by voting one way or the other.
Very well. The Honorable TJ, if you remember, I had expressed myself exactly in those terms. And the bill, it does not belong, nominally it belongs to the chair, but it belongs to the House. So this is a public interest bill. It's not his personal bill. The Honorable Wamalwa, what is out of order? What is eating you?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this floor has veto powers. And I want to agree with my colleagues who have said we should not allow this to be withdrawn. But Honorable Dr. Munyaka has been very sincere and very honest that this matter, it was, the report was tabled a long time ago, and he's a human being, he has forgotten. So my suggestion is, can we move to other clauses where other members are prepared? Then we'll come back, maybe at that time, Honorable Munyaka will have gone quickly to look at the report. Then he'll be in a better position so that we move. Because, Mr. Chairman, it is important anyone bring amendment should be able to explain so that members can make a decision from an informed perspective. But for me, Honorable Dr. Munyaka has been sincere and honest. So let's move to other colleagues who are ready with the amendments. then we'll revisit this later. Thank you.
There's nothing absolutely out of order now. The Honorable Amalwa, what you have spoken to is correct. The Honorable Munyaka, he's also right, because the report on this amendment was tabled before this House on the 3rd of July 2018. So he is right. I will now give this opportunity to the Honorable Ichungwa so that we can hear his point of order.
Chair, really, as you're saying, there's really nothing out of order, but just to support what the Honorable Nyikalo was saying. You realize, Chair, not just the Honorable Munyaka as Chair of the Sports Committee, you will see there are also very many amendments that relate to other committees, and specifically the Health Committee where Professor Nyikal sits. And the Chair is not even here. Honorable Speaker, I've just taken a glimpse of the House this afternoon and looked at the order paper and the number of amendments that are there in this bill, and the sponsors of those amendments are not in the House, Honorable Speaker. And maybe it is because of the issues that Honorable Munyaka has spoken about, and I was really asking if the owner of this bill, who is the leader of majority, would consider withdrawing this bill at this particular time and give members adequate time, including chairs of committees, adequate time, so that even those members who are here, Honorable Chair, even the members who are not here, for instance, there are very many amendments I'm seeing here, Honorable Speaker, that relate to amendments to the Public Procurement Act, and the sponsors of those amendments are contractors themselves, Honorable Speaker. And I would really have been interested to hear the justification of why people who are contractors are bringing amendments relating to the Public Procurement Act, Honorable Speaker. And we will lose that opportunity should we not have those members here, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Eshungwa, you are doing very well until you jumped the gun. The Honorable 001, the Honorable Sankok.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Sankok, there's a point of order.
Yes, thank you
there's
very much.
a point of order by the
Honorable
leader of
Speaker.
majority.
Yes.
Just hold on. Hold your horses, the Honorable Sankok. Let us hear this point of order.
Chair, before I do what I'm supposed to do, let me first go on record. And we look, and I said we look very bad. You cannot give an excuse to a chair and a vice chair of a committee who have amendments on the order paper and they're not here. Honorable TJ Kajwang is a member of parliament, he's here. So those who are giving, like Chungwa, who are giving excuse to chairs and vice chairs, you don't control the calendar of the House. The calendar of the House and the business is from the House Business Committee. But Mr. Speaker, I will do this for the last time. Speaker, I will do this for the last time. Honorable Chairperson, if you listen to me, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2, National Assembly Bill number 13 of 2018, up to clause 3(2)(a) and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to sit again, and particularly with the provision relating to the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act Cap 131. But this is the last time. Yeah, if you have an amendment.
Honorable members, order. Order, members. The Honorable Sankok, there's nothing out of order. The Honorable Leader of Majority was on a point of order. So there was no way you can interrupt him when he's on a point of order. You are on the floor, but he was on a point of order. The rules are clear. When he's on a point of order, he finishes what he's saying. The Honorable Sankok, you may have to refresh your mind on the standing orders. Honorable members, allow me then to put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration, the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly number 13 of 2018, up to section 3(2)(a) of the provisions relating to the betting, lotteries, and Gaming Act, Cap 131, and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to sit again. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. So now I go there.
Order, members, order. Let's have the chairperson, please. Chairperson. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Ishungwa. Order, members. Please allow the chairperson to proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments, Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 13 of 2018, up to Clause 3(2)(a) of the provisions relating to the Betting, Lotteries, and Gaming Act, Chapter 131, and approve the same with amendments and seek leave to sit again.
Very well. So let's have the mover to move agreement with the report.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I request Honorable Cecily Mbarire to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Mbarire. Okay. So I propose a question. Which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. What is it, Sankok? Sankok, what is it?
Honorable Speaker, as much as we agree with our majority leader, but next time, if people are not prepared, if the chairperson are not prepared, all of us should not be punished because of people who give excuses. Excuses are justification of failures. You cannot fail the whole House simply because you did not read the report, and some of us came here prepared to tackle the bill, so next time let them be prepared. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
I do not consider that it's a punishment on your part, but in any case, in absence of punishing the whole House, as you want to put, whom would you propose we punish and how? I'm willing to listen to you, Honorable Sanko. Yes, because I'm trying to see. Well, you end up getting punished, but sometimes there are things which are beyond anybody's control. Yes, now, leader, yes, let me hear leader, and then I can see the lady from
Chair, you have seen my very good friend, Chair of Health, majestically walking 1 hour after the business has started, and she has amendment. I'm also seeing the Chair of Agriculture and many other chairs. And lucky enough, you are the chair of Liaison. Yes. And that should be a very top agenda of our next meeting. The business of this House is set by the House Business Committee. It's in the order paper 24 hours. Whether you table a report 5 years ago, 1 year ago, when we come to the Committee of the Whole House, anybody who has an amendment, including myself, must come and explain. Because all these members want to contribute into this miscellaneous. But just because the chair of budget, for example, or the chair of finance is not around, then we say, so every time, if I am not around as a leader of majority, so how will Parliament transact its business? If I have got bills and I have to move them for second reading. So let this be, and I want you to give warning, that, no, there are some who are around, Honorable Limo, Honorable Chungwa, myself, Honorable for Education, you know, and Honorable Sabina is a very active member, but I don't know where that vice chair of us, the Indian man, Honorable Mishra. I don't know where Mishra is. You know where Mishra is, Honorable Mishra is nowhere to be seen. So, Mr. Speaker, No, I have said Honorable Mishra, the Indian. You know, you can describe him. There are people who don't know who is Mishra.
You see, when you talk about the Indian, you make him an Indian, and yet this is a member for Kese's constituency.
No,
a Kenyan by naturalization.
The Honorable Indian Mishra, who has been nicknamed Mr. Honorable Kiprop by the Kalenjin community, and Naika from the Luya community. We must be proud of our Honorable Chair of Cohesion is here. There are many members who are here. And let us not play around with the time of the National Assembly. The time of the National Assembly is very, very critical. So I today have indulged, I have withdrawn, I have asked for the deferment, but please, Chair, in our meeting, that, yes, and we will bring this matter on Thursday fasting.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Kuria, first let me have a honorable member for Suba North.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I actually want to bring a slightly different issue. Chair, the confusion that we are seeing in the House today is testimony of an issue that we have raised that is of concern. If you look at the number of bills that has been brought in this statute law amendment bill, there are very many. I've actually gone through almost all the bills, except the one that is, should be even of the greatest concern because it is the last one, which is the Fisheries Management Act. And Chair, I can tell you that we are not doing justice as members of parliament and to members of parliament. Because as much as you have members who are in agriculture, who will focus on agriculture, and they are confused over one bill, Chair. What about those of us who are focusing on all the bills, Chair? I think the House leadership must also direct the executive and force the executive to follow the law. You find within this law, some of my proposed amendments are actually touching on the fact that it is actually unlawful. I don't even go to the substance because they are touching on substantive issues that should not be brought by miscellaneous amendment. And the Chair, if you actually look at the amount of time, I'm amazed when you hear Honorable Sankok saying people should be punished. Some of us are already punished because I sat and spent days doing amendments to these bills, then suddenly they are all being withdrawn. And they are being withdrawn in such a further manner that you don't know which one we are already operating with and which one is...
I do not know whether that particular statement you are saying is factual.
It is, Chair.
When you say it is being withdrawn, actually that's not the position, because when you withdraw, it means you are removing it completely. But this is a situation whereby it has been actually adjourned to come back on Thursday.
Chair, can I clarify?
Yes.
I'm not talking to what the majority leader has said now. I'm talking to what the substantive speaker did earlier. Several of the bills have been withdrawn, and if you actually look at the amendments I brought to the House, there were over 40-something pages. And after you have done all that work, it will come a point that I will actually be suing the government, the parliament to pay me for my time, which I could actually then be using to serve the people of Suba North.
Well, no,
because you cannot make us also do so much work.
You probably will not succeed in a suit.
Chair, even if I don't succeed, but from a public...
Because Parliament is paying you for that particular time that you are using. And of course, courtesy of the constituents you have. So, but you raise very valid...
thank you.
You raise very valid issues. Allow us to look at those very valid issues. Let's leave the issue of, these other ones. But I hear you on that particular one. Now, I think it's about time that I'll give two or three, since I see there are many members who really want to speak to this, let me give 3 of them only. Let's start with Kuria, Honorable Kuria, and then I'll come to my left, see who is interested, and then we probably will, that will be it. Yes, Honorable Kuria.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the leader of the majority in matters of us being serious with the business before the House. Because it is true that some of the members or chairs of committees may not have been ready. But also let us look at it from the point of view of members, as the Honorable Miri Odhiambo has said, who have had to work extra hard to move their amendments. Mr. Speaker, if you look at my situation, for me to actually have this postponed, and given my busy schedule out there as a presidential candidate, you will agree with me, Mr. Speaker, that why it not for my love for this country and my competitors, most of them are outside this house.
I do not want you to use the floor of the House.
In this respect, Mr. Speaker,
to
I would want
engage in campaign.
I would want to agree with the leader and also request, Mr. Speaker, that when this matter comes up on Thursday, we execute this business no matter the limitations of time until we are done with the business of that day. Because, you know, okay, like Honorable Milio takes matters of withdrawal very seriously.
That's enough. That's enough now, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You know, I agree with you totally. When I see Honorable Kuria very seriously in the House, it is not normal. He hardly finds time to. He hardly finds time to sit here, and many times I do not even. So let me see. What is the point of order again, leader? Because let me allow.
Honorable Speaker, the member for Gatundu South, and up to the last record of the Jubilee Party, is a member of our party, and we have no record of him contesting against the other candidates. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Moses is using this floor to preach falsehood. Unless he resigns from Jubilee and stands on that party, which up to now he has only a certificate of notification, because he has to collect 24,000 signatures from 24 counties, which is not an easy job. But there are a number of us here who might join his party if he convinces us. But for now, Mr. Speaker, I'm on a point of order. Mr. Speaker. I'm on a point of order. We are not in the city hall. We are not in county. Mr. Speaker, as of now, Honorable Moses Kuria is a member of Parliament for Gatundu South, and one of his respected constituents is His Excellency the President. So there is no presidential candidate in this house. There is no presidential candidate in this house.
That is not convincing. Let me first go to Honorable Simba Arati. Simba Arati, actually a party leader of some sort. Yes, proceed, you have the mic.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if it's in order for you to allow the leader of majority to entertain us with issues of a confused team in terms of presidency in what, because it doesn't matter. I wonder when even Moses Kuria stands and tells us his competitors, in which honorable Moses Kuria, of which country that is a candidate. Is it Kenya or Uganda or another country elsewhere? You know, let us be realistic with what we are serious about.
Now, I think you are out of order, Honorable Arati, honestly. I mean, members are free. Maybe let me look at, as I come this way, what is your, are you also on points of order? No, then let me give Honorable Lesonet. Then I come this way. Lesonet, and then I come this way, please.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, this definitely is a house of records. And I've also heard what our colleague here, Moses Kuria, has alluded to, that is a presidential candidate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the IBC has not announced any elections. And Mr. Speaker, for that matter, we are not aware that the current President, Uhuru Kenyatta, has vacated or is about to vacate office so that Moses Kuria can contest an election. So, Mr. Speaker, Moses Kuria needs to stop alluding to an election. He needs to stop alluding to a presidential election that all of us are not aware of, Mr. Speaker.
So, Mr. Speaker,
is definitely out of
There will be
order.
an election in 2022.
Mr. Speaker,
it
yes,
does not have to allude to it. It is a constitutional issue. If
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Kuria wants to vie, I mean, the only thing that I discourage him from doing
Mr. Speaker,
is coming to use the floor
Mr. Speaker,
to campaign. But
he has said
order,
this.
Honorable Lesonet, order, Honorable Lesonet. Now, when I'm speaking, you cannot be speaking at the same time. So what I'm saying, Honorable Kuria, the only thing which he's doing wrongly is using the floor of the House to advance his political ambitions. Now, in as far as him alluding to there being an election sometimes later, it is a fact. It's 2022, we should be having an election. So as to whether he wants to vie for a governor, president, or anything else, it is his constitutional right. So let's not really belabor ourselves on that one. Let me give Honorable Kajwang, TJ, I hear what he has to say. Yours is a contribution. Mr. Speaker, I'm running, I want to get away from that supposed presidential candidate debate. I want to go back to where we were, which we were on debates. We were on debate on adoption of the report for deferment. And Mr. Speaker, on this I want to agree with the leader of majority that we need to take up our roles very seriously. In fact, were it not for the fact that... It's very interesting lately, Honorable Kajwang, you agree with the leader of majority on virtually everything, which is a good thing for the House. Let's hear what you have to say. Because as you know, Mr. Speaker, you know I'm in government. you know, Mr. Speaker, I'm in government, and I'm advancing the interests of my government. But Mr. Speaker, sir, were it not for the fact that legislation on gaming and lottery and so on is a very important issue amongst the community, I probably would have gone the leader majority way that we must continue in spite of all these issues that the chairman are bringing to us. You see, Mr. Speaker, we take time to do research. Those reports are huge. We read them, and we are not in those committees. Then we come here prepared to work on the legislation. And then a chairman, for some reason, says that that thing was done 8 months ago, and he does not even have a report. Makes a lot of sense. He must have a report. So, Mr. Speaker... Makes a lot of sense. But because we are speaking to you as the chair of Liaison, we expect you to rein this chairman. Rein them in. Rein them, including their vice chairman. Now, so that we don't have... The leader of Liaison is absent in this particular discussion. The one who is seated here is the speaker now. Now, there are quite a number of ways of approaching the Liaison Committee, whose chair will obviously take quite some concern on some of these issues they are talking about. But Honorable Kajwang, you know, when you say you are in government, I'm sure you are in government in as far as the legislature is one arm of government among the others. But in terms of the records that I possess here, you are in the minority. But really, I mean, you are in government. I agree with you totally. I'm also obliged, but Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I do not intend to move away from government. I intend to sit in this government with both my bottoms, you know. But Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, sir, let us not lose sight of this chairman. That one is because otherwise we will be wasting legislative time. That is not and it is frustrating many of us who come to the chamber prepared to transact business. Okay, maybe we'll have the Honorable Dr. Wamalwa, and then just about it. Really, let's not take too much. I'll give 2 more members, 2 members only, and that will be it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is very, very unfortunate the incident that has just happened. And many times, Mr. Speaker, the members of parliament that you see at the committee of the whole house, these are very serious legislators who have gone through the bill because, Mr. Speaker, you know very well, at this stage, we must be able to scrutinize every clause. And to me, Mr. Speaker, we do know very well that the chairs are supposed to prepare. But Honorable Munyaka, he was very sincere and honest. And the issue is the House Business Committee. It's also the responsibility
Now
of the
you'll
House
have
Business.
to, you can see members are walking out.
Yes.
So you'll have to cut short yours.
Yes, just give me a second, 2
no,
seconds.
No, you have already
The
taken
House
too
Business
much.
Committee
You have
should
taken-
be informing the person that your business will be appearing the following day so that they prepare accordingly.
Order.
So the clerks
Order.
should be able to do that.
Order. Looking at the numbers, they're about to diminish. So members, we can only do it when we still have the number. And we do. So let me put the question, which is that this House do agree with the committee in the said report. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now, as I go to the next order, first let me recognize in the Speaker's gallery, honorable members, I wish to recognize a delegation of staff from the Parliament of Uganda seated in the Speaker's gallery. The delegation is welcome to observe the proceedings of the National Assembly. Okay, next order. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, reports of the Kenyan delegation to the sessions of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. Resumption of debate.
Okay. I am aware in that particular one, the report had been moved by Honorable Raso and seconded, and a question was proposed. So what remains is for us to proceed with the debate. And I'll give the first opportunity. Is it to Honorable Jomo? You want to speak to this one? Or you wanted to speak to the previous one?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to speak to the previous one.
Okay.
Not this particular one. But I'm
Okay.
also very concerned about the
Let's not go to the previous one.
I'm not going to the previous one, but
You want to speak to this one? The
No,
ACP-EU one?
I'm not prepared.
No, then it's okay. Yours is Pan-African. Now, I would like to see the members who want to contribute to this placing their intervention, please. Because if I see none, I will put the question. And I see none, so I put the question. I call the mover to. I would ask members to put their. I will ask the mover to move to reply. Proceed and reply. Is there any member who wanted to speak? Oh. Honorable Sankok, you wanted to speak also on this one? Well, but you are overtaken by events. Proceed and move reporting. Order, Honorable Sankok. Not move reporting, I'm saying reply, please. Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to reply to the report, which are 3 reports covering the ACP-EU delegation, Kenyan delegation, to the 3 different conferences. Mr. Speaker, I just want to draw the House's attention on 3 very important areas. One is on the EPAS, the Economic Partnership Agreement, post-Cotonou 2020. Then the second issue is about the issue of wildlife trafficking. And thirdly is cybercrime. The fourth area is the issue of women forum and children. So, Madam Speaker, the first thing which I said I want to highlight to the House is on the EPAS, where in the region of East Africa, is only Kenya and Rwanda who have signed the EPAS, while the 3 other regional countries have not done so. It is an issue of concern because it is likely to make us bargain at a slightly a much lower level, because when you are negotiating with 5 countries, it's quite opposite, or is not as much gravitas as if you are negotiating with 5 from this region. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, the other thing is on the post-Cotonou 2020. The Cotonou Agreement that was actually signed in 1975 will come to a close on 20th of February 2020. It is a major area of concern because it is about a political, social, and economic negotiation that has been going on. And for that reason, Kenya is within the central negotiating team for our East African region. So as a delegation, we are concerned and we are seized of that matter, that what happens in post-Cotonou 2020. The third area is about wildlife trafficking and also trafficking in endangered species. What is happening is, as a country, we are spending so much, putting a lot of effort in protecting our wildlife and its habitat. And there are other smarter countries, and I say smarter in quotes, because they are trying to destroy what we have preserved all these years. For that reason, as a country, I think for us to protect our heritage, because wildlife is our heritage, it means we need to make this an international issue, an international agenda, so that our wildlife and its habitat is protected. Finally, it is on the issue of women forum. I think one of the major concerns throughout the world today is the role of women in both governance, in family affairs, in the economic and social contribution to the well-being of societies. I think in the ACP-EU, the Women Forum is given a gravitas so that the women agenda can be propagated at the international level, regional, at national and subnational levels. And one of the issues is about the right of the girl child, the education, things like FGMs, early marriages, are among the major concerns, particularly in the developing countries. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is the issue of weather and climate change. The climate change is a major issue of concern that the ACP-EU is seized with. In the recent times, you have seen the cyclone that affected Mozambique, which also will affect the coast of Tanzania, the island of Comoros. So this effect of weather changes or climatic changes that has been brought about by we humans disturbing or interfering with our environment is really a cause for concern. It is considered that if the effect of climatic change is going to go on unchecked. There are islands which are in the Pacific or in the Atlantic, which are likely to disappear. They are going to go under the sea. The effect of the rains failing or being delayed in Kenya, we can actually attribute it to climatic changes. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to move and seek deferment of putting of the question under Standing Order 53. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well, very well. After replying, honourable members, guided by the procedures of the House, I am not in a position to put the question to the reports of the Kenya delegation to sessions of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. And I have ordered that the putting of the question will be done the next sitting, it will be slotted in our order paper. Next. Honourable members, before we go to the next order, allow me give the floor to Honourable Commander to lay a paper.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Because this document have just arrived and is a document that is very urgent for this House. And Mr. Speaker,
Order, Honourable Commander, be guided. I'm not Mr. Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I'm sorry. Madam Speaker, I beg to read the following paper on the table of this House today, Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. Report on a Select Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunities on the consideration of National Cohesion and Integration Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill 12 of 2019. And thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. You can lay the paper, the report. Next order.
Order number 11. The Office of the County Attorney Bill, Senate Bill number 3 of 2018, second reading.
Leader of majority? Or the Representative Washiali?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Leader of Majority, who is supposed to be moving this bill, is attending a mediation session, which is equally very important and, of course, with timelines. Madam Speaker, as one of the leadership of this House, I must admit that when order number 9 the debate on order number 9 could not proceed, it took us as a House, of course, because order number 9 was, these miscellaneous bills, which would have taken us most of the afternoon. And therefore, even the leader of majority was meant to move this order number 11, could not have prepared because definitely if we were to debate adequately order number 9, then there was no way we could have reached this. And therefore, as you are aware, Madam Speaker, is that order number 9 also has a lot to do with the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. And as you can see, even the chair is not around. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I would just request that we step down this order to another sitting day.
Very well.
Yeah, thank you,
Honourable
Madam
Shali being the leader. If you members, Honourable, let me hear Honourable Kajwang.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker, we have just dealt here with an emotional subject in which the leader of majority was, so to speak, strangling all his chairpersons because, as he said, they were not prepared. There is somebody called deputy leader of majority party. How is it that business cannot be transacted in this house if Honorable Duale is not in this house? It is not possible. I mean, what is the majority side of this house telling us? That business can only be transacted in this house if Duale is present here? Madam Speaker, can you rule them to be out of order?
Honorable Kajwang.
I am also going for a meeting, and I know that, yes, I know that the leader of majority is in a mediation meeting. I'm also going for a mediation meeting right now. But we all know our roles. We cannot have a situation in which this parliament runs just because of one person. It cannot happen.
But Honorable Kajwang, the Honorable Washiali, the leadership has requested the standing down of the order number 11. Members, is due, and he did explain that we did not anticipate for us to have dealt with the committee of the whole house, which ideally is supposed to have taken longer than now. And so, honorable members, I do rule that the office of the county attorney bill, Senate bill number 3 of 2018 be stood down. Next order. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, report on the examination of the financial statements for the national government for the financial year 2015-2016.
That is motion number 12. The chairperson, Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, Madam Speaker. Well, we are not anticipated that we shall get to this, but since Public Accounts Committee is ever ready, we are going to move this motion. And I want to proceed to do so, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to move the motion that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the national government for financial year 2015-2016. Okay?
Laid on the table?
Laid on the table on Tuesday.
Honorable, the chairman, my chair actually, but for when I'm a speaker, can you access the order paper?
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
my laptop is faulty.
Yes.
The only thing I've missed is the date. Okay? Yes. Let me start afresh.
Just move it as it is.
Yes.
Yes.
That this House, I wish to move the motion, Madam Speaker, that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on its examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements for the national government for the financial year 2015-2016, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019.
Very well.
Madam Speaker, this is one such moment that I was really looking forward to. That, Madam Speaker, in a span of not more than 4 months, the Public Accounts Committee, which I am privileged to chair, is submitting to this House a report on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on financial statements of the national government. Now, Speaker, you will recall that in November 2018, the Public Accounts Committee did table a report on the financial statements for the financial year 2014-2015, which report was eventually adopted by the House with minor amendments. Madam Speaker, therefore, this report coming just about 4 months after that other report is a demonstration of the fact that the Public Accounts Committee that I chair is more than equal to the task that has been placed before it. Madam Speaker, it is important to point out that the Public Accounts Committee does not just act in vain. You will no doubt note that the equitable share of national revenues between the two levels of government is dependent upon the latest audited financial statements of the national government adopted by this House. And therefore, the tabling of this report and hopefully its eventual adoption by the House is going to mark another milestone in the short history of the Public Accounts Committee of the 12th Parliament. That is the 12th National Assembly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, true to our tradition as Public Accounts Committee, we have diligently examined the report of the Auditor General with regard to various ministries, state departments, constitutional commissions, and independent offices for the financial year 2015-2016. We have accordingly come up with various findings and observations. In respect of each of those agencies.
Order,
Madam Speaker,
Chairman, Public Accounts Committee, order.
if I'm allowed to continue.
Yes, Honorable Tobiko Perry, what is out of order? The chair is moving.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
And we said, anytime you're on a point of order, now that the chairperson of Public Accounts was on the process of moving the report, you raise on a point of order that is in our standing orders.
Yeah. Yes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was just referring to the issue of quorum in the House, Madam Speaker, if we have the necessary quorum to go on with this business. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I can confirm.
Order. Honorable Chairperson, Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Opio. This being now House of Procedure, and now that she has raised the quorum, Honorable Member for Kajiado, she rose on quorum during the proceeding of the House, which is on number 35. I order that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. Order, order, Honorable Wamunyinyi. Order, Honorable Wamunyinyi. As a matter of procedure, Honorable Wamunyinyi, as a matter of procedure, when the quorum bell is being rung, the members are not allowed to leave the chambers. It's only the whip. Yes, yes. It's only the official whip. The official whip who is supposed or allowed by procedure to walk out of the chamber. Honorable Wamunyinyi. Honorable Wamunyinyi, official chief whip or communication. And we must appreciate the service by Honorable Wamunyinyi has served for. He's one of the senior members of parliament. The senior members of parliament who are aware of the procedures. And indeed is doing the work of the whip. So the whip from this other side, as he claims, is actually not in the house. Order, members. After 10 minutes of the bell ringing, the quorum bell ringing, I order the bell to stop. That is a quorum bell. Honorable members, we are not in a position to transact the rest of the business because, as raised, the House is not constitutionally constituted. And so I do order that the time being 4:52 p.m., the House stands adjourned till Thursday, 1st May 2019, 2nd May 2019 at 2:30 p.m. So ordered.